went from village to village and sat on the floor of the little homes in the villages and told the ladies about how this worked. And that got them a tremendous amount of respect and business. And that was a go-to-market innovation. And so, I'd like to hear some comment about the types of business model disruptions or innovations you're seeing. And I'll take that from anyone who wants to talk about that.
Well, let me just comment on that. I think the danger I see when I talk to entrepreneurs, and I'm fortunate in that I have interactions with entrepreneurs all around the world, is that many of them are actually creating sort of an intellectual obstacle for themselves. They're trying to find massive problems to solve. They're trying to take these huge leaps of imagination when, in fact, you could jump off a cliff by just stepping 1 inch. You don't need to jump and run real far. And so the reason I bring that analogy up is that, often industries can be shifted by gradualism. You don't need to try and solve poverty in Africa. We launched a peer-to-peer lending crowdfunding platform when I was based in Denmark. And the idea was basically connect investors in Europe to micro enterprises in Africa, no collateral, and the whole thing didn't really work the way you would imagine because they tried to be too big. Literally, the vision for this organization was to eradicate poverty in Africa. We tied it very nicely to the Millennium Development Goals. Those came and went, and so did the business model. Because the reality, the vision was too big. It was very noble. We spent millions and millions and millions of dollars trying to do it. But had we just said, we want to build a clean way to get capital from A to B, and let the market then decide how that thing grows, it'd still be around, and I think it'd thrive. Uber doesn't become Uber by trying to solve global mobility issues with the phone. That the market decided. Uber said, we've got a very clean, on-demand platform that could hail a cab.
In San Francisco.
Right. And then all of a sudden the market blossomed. And so many entrepreneurs around the world, and certainly, again, I see it from my Pan-African entrepreneur friends, they're trying to solve these massive problems. So a good friend of mine, he just became one of the TEEP fellows with the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program. He has this incredible platform in a lab that will do off-grid solar energy, and they've solved the problem of how to store it for overnight hours and broadcast. The issue was, well, if you're trying to solve the lack of electricity, you also need to worry about energy distribution, which isn't a problem you're prepared to solve. So in sitting down and talking to him, I said, forget that market. Let's just move and disrupt the generators of the world. That for every telephone pole and for every broadcast station, there's a diesel-powered, dirty generator attached to it.
Yeah.
Let's just put a little solar generator there and be content that you've done that. Because that is a better proposition than I'm trying to solve energy in Africa. And I said, well, how much time do you have? Right?
And that's a big business.
It's a huge business. Yeah. But that's my point, is it doesn't have to be massively disruptive. I think disruptive is a very dangerous word in entrepreneurship, and we should kill it. We should think about doing
Wait, I had it as a topic.
Doing things for real. Launch real businesses. Don't just worry about getting funding in a lab. Just go out and do real things. Because then investors will like you because you have conviction.
How many people here are, yes, absolutely. How many people here are investors? Boy, they told me they invited a bunch of investors. Okay, there's a few. And how many people here have their own business?